when you are safe and comfortable in your practice, you are able to access so much more within yourself, connecting with your guides, guardians, higher self. You're able to magnify your development. You're able to have a lot faster progress within your development, intuitively, psychically, your ability to manifest, also your powers of discernment for what path is most aligned for you. That could be in your world with your community, with your relationships, with how you are pursuing certain goals and dreams that you have. So everything is more aligned and manifests at a much grander level and in a faster place as we feel safe. Hey friends, what's up? It is Mina and welcome to another video on this YouTube channel. If you are new here, then I am a practitioner that creates content to hold community space and to just share thoughts and ideas and inspiration to help empower you on your own magical or spiritual journey. If you are returning, then hey, what's up? I hope you are well, and we have a nice treat for you today. So in any relationship in life, safety is very important. It's very important to feel and have an environment that supports safety in our career relationships, in our romantic relationships, and also in our magical and spiritual relationships or environment. Feeling safe within your practice has been really highlighted this year and this summer, spring time. So I wanted to hold space for this conversation today. The conversation of, do you feel safe in your magical and spiritual practice? Now, we're going to focus specifically on this energy, but just looking at on a macrocosmic level, the foundation of safety is important in all environments and all relationships, and really holding space and reflecting on what that looks like on an individual basis, on an individual level for you within your circumstances. So why is safety so important in the magical space, in the energy space? There have been many years in the past where practitioners were not safe to express their workings. They were seen as a major threat to governments and physicians and townspeople, because typically as humans, we fear what we don't understand, and we also fear power that might influence us in a way that we don't want. And so if someone has exemplified some of those things, their community might reject them. That could be one reason, one main reason why there is this question of safety in someone's magical practice. This might not even be something that is actively a part of your life right now. It could be part of your ancestral lineage. It could be part of past life wounds that have not been healed and reintegrated. So you may have a practice in your current incarnation that looks safe, but when you really reflect on, do I feel safe in this space in my practice, there might be a small nudge in the back of your mind that says, actually, no, I don't. So delving into the whys behind that are going to be super important. When you are safe and comfortable in your practice, you are able to access so much more within yourself, connecting with your guides, guardians, higher self. You're able to magnify your development. You're able to have a lot faster progress within your development, intuitively, psychically, your ability to manifest, also your powers of discernment for what path is most aligned for you. That could be in your world with your community, with your relationships, with how you are pursuing certain goals and dreams that you have. So everything is more aligned and manifests at a much grander level and in a faster place as we feel safe, because safety also equals openness. Openness equals a clear path to pursue what lights us up. And it also allows us to trust and move through what is important to us without hesitation, without limitation. So, unlimited potential when we address this very important key factor in our beliefs and in our energy, openness versus closed. So it is very important to meditate or reflect or journal upon this question. Do I feel safe in my magical practice, in my spiritual practice? And just to have that dialogue with these different versions of yourself. Do I feel safe to challenge myself, to go deeper, to develop more? Do I feel safe to truly open my third eye and really perceive beyond the veil into these different energies? Why or why not? There are so many factors that could contribute to this. You know, we have Hollywood and some of the media that has portrayed certain elements of our practice in very horrific ways, you know, with a lot of horror movies, and some of those things can create these little pockets of fear within our belief systems that could impact us. There may have been energies of betrayal in your magical practice and community in the past that may impact your feelings of safety and allowing people to come in. There may have been somebody that presented themselves as a friend, and then later you found out they were working against you. That could create beliefs of feeling unsafe to open ourselves up to our practice in certain ways as it relates to our interpersonal relationship with other people in the community. There may be energies of unsafety if you have experienced a very intense healing session and then didn't get the proper aftercare or follow-up that you needed to fully anchor and settle those energies in as imbalances were clearing out. This is part of a conversation that has been very prevalent in some shamanic practitioner books that I've been reading lately, where, you know, there's a huge highlight on, are we too quick to just have a timer and say off you go when it comes to readings and healing sessions with others? You know, are we truly investing in holding space with what is needed and what aftercare is required to fully support our clients, friends, community, and whatever that looks like? That could create beliefs of unsafety. You know, if you went into a class or you had a healing session, you had this huge breakthrough, but then suddenly you didn't have that support and now you have no idea what to do from here. That could create beliefs of unsafety. You know, was there an environment where you were in circle space or you were with a certain friend and they called forth, maybe unintentionally, a certain energy that attached itself to you or to your environment? Maybe you didn't know how to deal with that. And then now all of a sudden opening up to this relationship has invited in malevolent energies that now you have to just deal with. That can create beliefs of unsafety. So, this isn't to say that the answer is to live in a small room with padded walls and delivery services so that way we never venture out into the world. Safety is about understanding the threats from the flaws of life. People aren't perfect. Situations have hiccups and obstacles that show up. We fall and falter often, but the beliefs around safety and protection and some of these energies really are all encompassing about how we pick ourselves up after that. How do we learn from the mistake that was made? How do we have certain safeguards in place, certain alarms or alerts in place to help us with that the next time? And how do we make sure that we nurture and heal from whatever or however that showed up previously? Very important conversations to be had. And it's going to be different for each person depending on where the gap is, where the belief is, and what is anchored to that belief. Now, for those of you who have certain practices, in Reiki, we talk a lot about one of our symbols that the Reiki 2 and above practitioner has. One of these power symbols is the distance symbol, that we send this healing energy to across time and space in the past or something like that, that could really help if there was a specific situation that happened that created and really set a foundation of this lack of safety. Doing certain things like that to heal what that experience was can be very helpful. Now, if you don't have the ability to channel Reiki right now, there are a lot of other ways that we can do that. So don't feel like that's the only option. It's just one that's easy for me to pull top of mind. Education, knowledge is key, right? So understanding where it's coming from, how it showed up in your life, and then using some resources that you have available to you to have more layers of protection around you. There was a conversation with a fellow witch in the past that got to a place within their own practice where they felt like they didn't need to recondition and set their protection shield. They're like, I am comfortable enough in my practice. I am witching all the time. And, it's just a default part of who I am at this point. And then they went to a psychic fair, didn't realize that there was somebody there that wished them suffering and harm, and they actually put something on them, whether it was a curse or a hex. It could be intentional or unintentional. People actually don't realize how much power their wishes have when they wish good or they wish harm. So it was a couple weeks before this practitioner realized, like, there's a lot of things happening that are making me realize that somebody put something on me. Needless to say, that was a great lesson for them to come back to the routine of, hey, once a quarter, I'm going to just reset my protection shield to act as a filter, to allow good in, to neutralize any bad intentions into the earth to be recycled and renewed, and also to alert me when I am around somebody that has the face of a friend but the heart of a foe, to keep me alert in those instances so I can remain diligent and discerning within my own protection. Some people might have certain thoughts about these things like, oh, you're not confident in your ability, or you don't trust your guides, or, people are going to have opinions about anything within any certain practice based on their beliefs and what works well for them versus not. But it can't hurt to have certain things in place. There are certain things that you can put in place around your house. If you have certain protection plants that are placed intentionally around your space, this can be one layer of protection and safety in your space. Because if you are creating circle and delving into the realm of the unknown as you challenge yourself further and further in your own practice, having a space that is conducive to support you with this is going to be very helpful. Creating a sacred space in general is going to help support feelings of safety. There was a time with my kiddo that they were going through a lot of mental health challenges. They did not keep their personal space clean. So it was very dirty. It was very cluttery. It was, the blinds were always closed. The compounding of misery in that space was palpable. Like I could feel it when I walked by. And when they would tell me certain energies with like these weird dreams or these weird energies that they would feel in their space, I would point to them and say, what space are you creating? What space are you supporting in your environment? If you live a certain way, it's going to invite certain energies that go against what you're wanting in order to feel comfortable, confident, and safe in your space. So that was a lesson that is challenging for many teenagers, but very relevant, especially if you're interested in delving into certain magical practices. You have to be mindful of these things. So this is just a conversation to invite you to question your beliefs. What beliefs do you have around safety right now? Do you feel safe? Why or why not? Is there an anchor point to those feelings of unsafety? And what is the best first action that you can take to start to counter it? We could talk about a million ways on why you might not feel safe and a million tips on how to feel better. But sometimes that can be very overwhelming, and it doesn't have to look like an all or nothing situation. You can start to nourish and recondition your beliefs as you prepare to introduce yourself to your practice again while feeling more safe. One of the main ways that we would do this is if you have a way that when you do something specific, it makes you feel unsafe, but you know that this thing is part of what your development looks like. Let's say meditation, for instance. I feel unsafe when I meditate. It's from XYZ reason, and we're working through that. You might find more ceremony and ritual preparation as you reintroduce yourself to that space is going to be really helpful as we work on shifting that belief. So casting a circle, being very intentional about what energies are allowed and what energies are not allowed. Inviting in and working more deeply with the elements as part of healing and re-establishing beliefs can be very beneficial. And just taking more time as part of this ritual prep work before you just sit down in whatever space and open yourself up to whatever energies are around you can be very, very helpful. If you have already set a certain space and you know the feelings of unsafety reside within your own energy center, then really allowing yourself patience and time and not feeling like you need to rush through anything as you reintroduce yourself is going to be very helpful as well. For example, You know, I am reintroducing myself to meditative space. I created this energy around me. I cast a circle. I invited in some elements. I invited in my angels and whatever high vibe energies I'm working with to help me feel safe. I'm sitting down, I'm counting down, and I'm feeling a little apprehensive in my heart. Ooh, here we go again. This is the time when your body brings forth energies of fear or uncertainty for you to self-nourish. You might place your hand over your heart and say, I am safe in this space. It's okay to let this fear go. I am sovereign and powerful. My guides are all around me. Just one sentence to help re-nourish and recreate what a confident and secure and protected belief looks like can be super beneficial as we start to reintroduce. So this conversation is very just high level overview on some of the tips and tricks that can bring you back from, feeling fear led and unsafe to feeling confident, sovereign, empowered, safe, secure, and open to what this magical life can look like for you. So if you have any thoughts, if you have any specific questions around it, feel free to add them in that comment section below. Of course, that is yours as you see fit. I would always recommend to have an intuition development practice that leads your magical practice space. Having your intuition be what drives and leads you to crystals, to certain books, to certain classes and workshops, to certain environments and communities is going to be one of the main ways that you keep yourself safe and you surround yourself by the best energies. There's a full spectrum of people that are in it for the right reasons versus wrong reasons. And if you constantly have a practice where you are developing and strengthening your intuitive capabilities, it will guide you to what is most aligned. Will it be perfect every time? Absolutely not. We are living a life of contrast, and sometimes we find ourselves in weird situations that we have to reflect and say, okay, I obviously was there to learn a lesson, and what the heck was it? How can we learn it so we maybe hopefully don't experience that again? And then also not absorbing things so deeply where one act of falter crumbles everything that we have worked hard for. When we're not shaming or berating ourselves for having an intuitive hit that didn't ultimately lead to where we were hoping it would be, but saying like, hey, this was a lesson. I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. I'm going to take what this lesson was. I'm going to sink into it and really look at where are there gaps and pockets that maybe I'm too rigid. Maybe I'm too strict. Maybe I'm too trusting. Maybe I'm too in the mindset of what I wish life was instead of seeing how it really is. And how can I recalibrate that to help it be something that supports and carries me forward in the future? So I hope that this conversation was helpful for you. It is very, very important right now, especially being highlighted in this space. So definitely food for thought, meditation intentions, reflection, or journal prompt ideas. Take it and roll with it as it fits into your personal narrative and belief system right now. So thank you so much for being present with this conversation today. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you enjoy conversations around the magical and energy and spiritual space, that is what we are here all about. Stay wild and spooky, but most of all, stay magical. This is Mina. I will see you next time. Until then, take care.